The College Board lists this as a very difficult question. Without even reading it, I know that the answer is probably going to be D. Okay, now we should obviously read it. We should actually do the work, but that is the answer. So how did we get there? Why am I so good at this question that the College Board thinks is very hard? Well, it's because I'm good at using the main strategy for writing for the grammar questions, which is predict the question. Right? We need to look at our answer choices and know what rule is being tested. So you can probably tell that these choices are verbs. Right? They're about the different kinds of verbs, and you might think, okay, that's verb tense, but remember, there's different kinds of verb tense rules, and the one that matters here is that we are talking about verb agreement, specifically whether the verbs are singular or plural. So before I even read the paragraph, I was classifying these words as singular and plural. And they all can be classified. That's the key, is this rule only really comes up when all of the choices can fit these categories. So if only some of them do, it's probably some other verb tense rule. But let's look. Are is a plural verb. They are hungry, right? Multiple people. Were is also plural. They were hungry, right? Have been, they have been hungry in the past, right? Still multiple people we're talking about. But was is singular. He was hungry. She was hungry. Right? It's one person. You wouldn't say they was hungry. That's weird. So just by the fact that one of these is singular and the other three are plural, I'm like, well, one of them is different from the others. It's probably the odd one out. And that's how these tend to work. Now, it won't always be that way on the SAT, but if you practice a lot, you're going to notice this pattern, and it's pretty common. So it might happen on your own SAT as well. But if we can prove that it needs to be singular, all the better. So how do we do that? We need to find the subject of this verb. So let's go to the sentence. In the 1970s, Janaki Amal, a prominent botanist, emerged as a powerful voice in India's environmental conservation movement. Her exhaustive chromosomal survey of plants in Silent Valley, a pristine tropical forest in Kerala, India, that is home to nearly 1,100 species of native flora, skipping the parentheses, blank instrumental in the government's decision to preserve the forest. Was instrumental. So what the SAT did here is what they love to do with these questions. They love to take your subject and separate it from the verb. So it's hard to tell which one is which. But if we look here, we can see, okay, what was instrumental in the government's decision, right? What was instrumental in the government's decision? Her exhaustive chromosomal survey. So her survey of plants in Silent Valley was instrumental in the government's decision. So there's a lot of extra clauses in here that describe the valley and the flora and all this stuff, but none of that matters. What was instrumental? It was the survey. They are hoping, though, that you think it's something plural, like plants, right? Or species, right? They're trying to lure you away from the right answer, but because we successfully predicted the question and thought about singulars and plurals before we even touched the sentence, we already had a pretty good sense. And so it becomes less about finding the right answer and more about proving the right answer. And I think that really helps with these questions and why they're so easy for me. So we have a singular survey, so we need a singular verb to match with that. That's, to be clear, what verb agreement is all about. So if you are really good at spotting what rule they're asking about based on the answer choices, a lot of these questions that seem very, very difficult will actually be really, really easy. And this is one that, like I said, they said was difficult, but I got it in 2 seconds without even reading the sentence. Always read the sentence, but understand that if you know the rules, there are ways to kind of game the system a little bit. And I think that that's an easy way to add some points to your score.